Kids Who Hacked the CIA by Fern. Let's give this a watch.
It's October 2015, a chilly day in autumn. John Brennan receives a weird phone call. It seems to be coming from a stranger. He hesitates a second, then picks up.
Hello?
John Brennan?
Who is this?
You're a f***ing loser.
If John Brennan hadn't been John Brennan, this might have looked like an ordinary prank call.
How long can you go to prison for hacking the CIA? That's insane.
But John Brennan happens to be one of the most powerful men on Earth, the head of the CIA.
Who is this? How did you get this number?
It was so f***ing easy, bro. You're such a d***.
What do you want?
I don't want anything. I already f***ing own you.
Is it life in prison? If it's life in prison, that'd be insane. That'd be... Life in prison? Doesn't life in prison vary by state, though? So I wonder what life in prison is in this state.
How much do you want?
We want $5 trillion.
The US government will classify this call as part of a larger conspiracy of identity theft, harassment of government officials, and cyber terrorism. The caller will pay
It can range from a few years to life. Wow. Depending on the nature and severity of the offense. It can lead up to a 10 years for a first conviction and 20 years for a second offense. Oh my gosh. That's insane.
a heavy price for this moment
That's crazy. Yeah, I'm good. I'm never doing that.
of trollish glory.
Why are you doing this?
We want you to stop bombing the Middle East.
Across the Atlantic, in a house in the West Midlands of England, a 15-year-old kid in his room, the phone still in his hand. He can't believe what he just did. He calls himself Kraka, and he loves to smoke weed. In fact, he's high right now.
Okay.
He's also the leader of Krakas with Attitude. He and his companions terrorized and embarrassed the US security apparatus to a near incomparable degree. They leaked the personal data of police officers, FBI agents,
Oh my gosh, these kids are terrible. They leak cops? You cannot be doing that. Like, you cannot be doing that. That might be little more than 10 years.
and DOJ officials. They hand-delivered top-secret documents to Julian Assange. Some of the most publicized hacktivism attributed to Anonymous.
They call themselves Anonymous.
Yeah, it was actually them. In part for the lulz. And this is their story.
This was political.
Teenager
Cyber attacks.
hijacked the computers of several US intelligence and
Started a
security
collective called Crackers with Attitude.
Yeah, you're definitely going to prison for a lot longer. You're going to prison for a lot longer if you leak people's identities. That's, you cannot be doing that. What's up, Clara?
2008 in Virginia, a different kid who only calls himself Default. He's a pretty typical American teenager. He loves soccer, video games, and his dog. He often clashes with his father, who works in the government.
How does Fern... I just want to know, how does Fern always get these, like, this info? That's just crazy to me. Where do you get this info from? Like... Who does he know that, like, how does he know this kid just enjoys soccer?
Kid who only calls himself Default.
And his dog.
He's a pretty typical American teenager. He
Is
loves
this
soccer,
in case
video
and
games,
stuff
and
like
his
that?
dog. He often clashes with his
That's-
father, who works in the
How
government.
does he know he
At
clashes
some
with
point,
his
Default
father?
starts cheating in his video games. This gives him the first taste of using computers to do things that you're not supposed to.
How does Fern know this? Like, what are we doing? Yeah, I will keep streaming here, Clara.
Exciting, powerful things. He starts learning all that he can
Exciting and powerful?
about how computers work and how to get them to bend to your will. 2008 was an exciting time to get into hacking. The decentralized hacktivist group Anonymous was in its heyday. If you managed to get into their secret chats, you got a front seat view of their actions.
Anonymous is one of the biggest online vigilante
Can you imagine hacking into the hackers group chat? Oh my gosh. You would be like the ultimate hacker, dude. What?
group. Members hack into companies and governments.
Now a worldwide and widely recognized hacking group.
Hackers with the group Anonymous.
Citizens of the world,
We have seen the erosion of due process.
cyber war. Anonymous has struck again.
Young Default is fascinated. Anonymous embodies an exciting spirit of freedom through chaos. They showed how you could force the whole world to pay attention without you having to leave your bedroom. Some Anonymous actions are political, some are just trolling. And Default, after tasting this very new kind of power, is keen to learn everything he can about hacking. He starts to hack random websites just for the challenge of it.
Okay, I did a computer coding class. How do you hack? I don't understand how you hack. Like, I took AP Computer Science. I don't know the first thing about hacking. I can code a little bit, but hacking, how do you even hack someone's Facebook account? I think what you would do is you would email them probably a Trojan, and then once they click on it, you get a backdoor into their account. But hacking businesses, I don't know about that. Like, I wouldn't know how to do that. Creating videos should make you happy. That's the point of every hobby. I agree, Clara, and I'm glad that you support my decision to transition away from advice, dating advice. I think they're not going to teach you that in school, but I can ask Fern that studies programming. Yeah, no, they won't teach you that in school. They won't teach you how to hack. They might teach you how to stop hacking. I know all the different types of malware now because of that coding class, but they're not going to teach you how to hack in school. Definitely not.
Just to see if he can.
Where do you go to learn hacking though? There's not just some YouTube video on like, here, this is how you hack someone's Facebook account. This is how you hack into someone's Instagram. There's no way. There's no shot. There's just videos out there that tell you how to hack. That would be insane. I feel like that's illegal.
After hanging around Anonymous's chats for a while, he starts to find the group, well, cringe. For one thing,
there's no way this guy hacks in. He's like so inspired by them, and once he finally gets in their group chat, he sees what they're saying, and then he just gets cringed out. That's crazy.
It's crawling with feds. People are getting arrested, and it's tough to know who to trust. Anonymous has become so big that vetting people becomes difficult. There's tons of infighting and doxing. Since it's the only hacktivist group most media outlets know about, Anonymous keeps getting credited for the work of other, often more sophisticated hackers.
Interesting.
It's a mess.
No way. That's crazy. So Anonymous is they're not a joke. They're just getting overhyped to what they actually are, and they're taking credit of what other people are doing. That's crazy. I didn't even think about that. I wonder how many crime gangs get credit for things that other gangs did, like biker gangs, for example. I don't really know a whole lot about that, but interesting stuff.
So Default gets involved with offshoot hacker groups, one of them called AnonSec. The group positions itself as anti-anonymous. But similar to Anonymous, AnonSec performs operations, hacking initiatives that sometimes have a political purpose, and sometimes are just, as one might say in 2008, for the lols. I hated recording that. AnonSec is quite advanced, and Default gets better and better at the game. The group controls a botnet. A botnet is essentially a large pack of infected computers under someone's control. You can use those computers to further spread malware across.
Yeah, isn't there like a malware like worm? I forgot what it's called, but basically, this is the craziest thing. Don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure there's this type of virus that it's like it's not an actual worm, that's what they call it, where someone puts it on a Wi-Fi or gets it on device, and then it goes around to all the other devices on that network. So if you're on a Wi-Fi and one person on that Wi-Fi has the bug, it'll weasel its way into all the other devices and then give it people control, or the one person control, or whatever,
across the internet to make the botnet larger and larger. Or you could, for example, attack a server with it in order to overload it. Default is tapping around AnonSec's botnet and gets curious about what computers they've actually gotten under their control.
You can hack into other people's hack. You could hack into other hackers, and could you gain access to all the computers they have hacked? Because if so, why wouldn't hackers just go after other hackers to get huge sets of, I guess, inventory for what they have access to now, instead of taking the time to hack other things themselves?
One is a server of the Canadian Medical School, Windsor University. Suddenly,
They hacked a whole university? Oh my gosh.
Default finds himself with direct access.
What can you even do with that, though? You hack into a university, what do you get? Like, people's information that you just sell on the dark web? I don't get it.
To the university's finances. He pulls up records of students who owe the school money. It all adds up to $9.4 million.
Oh my gosh.
And at the bottom of the list,
that's less
something
than I would've thought.
very tempting. A delete all button. How could he not push it?
These people might, really enjoy having their slate wiped clean, as it were. If you look, some of them owe a substantial amount of money, like 70,000. I think some people owed like upwards of like over 100,000. It's a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? It's just like perpetual.
Okay, this guy's like, I should be mad, but for some reason I'm not. He's giving these people a chance. Not a chance at life. He's just helping them out. And obviously what he's doing is very, very illegal, and I don't condone any of that, but he's like an anti-hero. Is that what it's called? And he's like an anti-hero.
Debt that sometimes it just lasts for decades. So,
So this is actually him, right? Yeah.
Deleted everything. Went into the PHP shell and just like sent everything to dev null and just like shredded it. So whatever I sent there is just not coming back.
This is from the podcast Darknet Diaries.
Oh,
they have
podcast,
a fantastic episode with Default. Of course, this story poses some questions. We tried asking the university.
You want to know something? My dad is a firefighter, and they have networks that help him operate and locate the area on fire and etc. Someone was able to hack it, and they had to replace every laptop and device if it was connected. Exactly. If it's on the internet, or there's probably a different way. Someone downloaded a virus, or someone got a virus, and then they in turn gave someone backdoor into everyone else's computers. So that sucks. That's really sad though for your dad.
If the debt stayed deleted. They did not answer, but usually student loans have multiple on and offline and offsite backups.
And that's what I was just going to say about, I mean, there's no way the only source of documentation for how much people owe the university is going to be online. They've got to have paper copies. I feel like you have to. You want to know something? I just read that.
Should be hard copies of the students' signed loan agreements. However, Default feels like he's really doing something at the time. There is a certain rush to committing a crime when it feels like doing the right thing. Other hackers might have used the sensitive student information to make a profit. There's actually a shadow industry worth billions surrounding our most sensitive data. So-called data brokers gather all the info available about us on the internet, your contact information, browsing history, and online transactions. This data is often bundled into shadow profiles, which are then being sold. You might receive a tailored mail or a robocall based on your shadow profile. In the worst case, someone might try to steal your identity. More and more of Default's hacks are motivated by altruism rather than just curiosity. As recently as 2014, bestiality was legal in Denmark. Other European countries, Germany, the UK, Sweden, had recently banned it. What this meant for Denmark was an increase in animal sex tourism. For years, Danish animal...
Yo, this stuff should have been banned ages ago. Did it say 2016?
Curiosity. As recently as 2014...
2014?
Bestiality was legal in...
Oh my gosh, that is so gross. Yo, that's weird. That is weird.
Denmark. Other European countries, Germany, the UK, Sweden, had recently banned it. What this meant for Denmark was an increase in animal sex tourism. For years, Danish animal rights activists tried to
Gosh.
bring attention to this.
They called them dog brothels. So sick. It's so crazy. And I had a dog, so that really pissed me off just thinking about the fact, what if someone took my dog and that happened to my dog? I would freak out.
So, as
I mean, I can't say anything. I mean, me too.
Default describes it, he and other AnonSec hackers lend their technical skills to the animal rights movement.
So I think we
How was that legal for? Yeah, I don't know.
took
That's
down
crazy.
the official Denmark government website, and then we actually defaced it, and said, did you know that your government allows bestiality? And there's bestiality dens where people can go and pay money.
That's so nasty. Oh my gosh. That is so, like, oh. That's kind of aura, though. They took down the entire network. They just hacked it and then said, did you know your government allows bestiality? That's crazy.
To do these things to animals, and most of them are like pets.
They shut down bestiality websites via DDoS attacks and tweet evidence of sexually mistreated animals. The information reverberates around the world and is widely condemned. Anonymous gets credit for AnonSec's actions, which deeply annoys Default.
That's what I was going to say. Since Anonymous is so well known, they get credit for all of this stuff, even though it wasn't them doing it. And I think that's the issues with these hackers. These hackers should, if they are really doing it for their own benefits, they should not care about who knows it was them. It can be annoying, though, if Anonymous gets credit for that. That's fair.
But it works. In part due to the hacks, more people know about Danish dog brothels, about them online, protest them, until the case winds up in Parliament. In April 2015, Denmark finally bans bestiality.
This is all from one kid sitting in his room, by the way, and he did this just because he likes his dog. And he said, I don't want bestiality to be a thing anymore. One kid did all of this. Well, one, and then a couple other people, obviously, that he was working with.
While Default is leveling up as a hacker, he also becomes an early adopter of crypto. He accumulates a significant amount of Bitcoin, more than 1,000. This would amount to a lot of money today.
Yeah.
Somewhere around 40 million US dollars. He keeps these Bitcoins on a hard drive in his room. He also knows he's making powerful enemies, so he gets a bit paranoid, a bit fanatical with his OPSEC. He never logs into his own Wi-Fi, for one. He uses a satellite dish to log into a free Dairy Queen Wi-Fi half a mile away. He's always connecting through a Tor node. Every time he turns off his device.
Okay, if you don't know what Tor is like a browser, kind of like Google or Firefox that you can get. That just is a much higher increased level of security, and it's a lot harder to track you, where you are, get data about you around you. It's just a lot of people still or not a lot of people still use it. Mostly people who are on the dark web use it. It's a lot slower than Google, like searching things up. And the crazy thing to me is I'm pretty sure Tor was first invented or made by the FBI to privately browse and, do all their FBI things through Tor, and now it's just flooded with criminals on the dark web.
He makes sure they're encrypted. When he turns them back on, he has to wait 30 minutes for them to decrypt. For the most part, he never tells anybody what he is doing. He knows he has a lot to lose. Ultimately,
well, I'll probably never forget. Oh, Nico, did you also watch the Stranger Things? If you did, I want to get your thoughts.
It won't be enough.
I have mine. Oh, no.
Back in May 2013, a 29-year-old US intelligence contractor also has a lot to lose. But he's discovered a huge secret, and it's too big to keep. The US government has the ability to spy on pretty much any man, woman, child on Earth who has come into contact with a computer. And this contractor, unwittingly, has helped make that technology possible. And horrified that his government is violating its public civil rights so egregiously. He knows that revealing this information to anyone, a lawyer, a judge, or even Congress would be committing felonies so severe that he would spend a lifetime in prison. He's worried he'll never see his family again, and he doesn't know what consequences they'll encounter if he blows the whistle. But he has to do it. He's been quietly collecting evidence of this secret for a while, and he's just downloaded the last documents. He tells his employer, the US government, that he needs a couple of weeks off to manage his epilepsy. This buys him a bit of time to leave the country without arousing suspicion. He chooses Hong Kong because he views it as a bastion of free speech. He believes it's one of the few places in the world that could and would protect him from the wrath of the US government. There he meets journalists Laura Poitras and Glenn Greenwald and delivers evidence of what used to be waved off as a conspiracy theory. And so Edward Snowden becomes one of the most important whistleblowers of our modern time. Snowden's revelations scandalize the world and spark a long overdue debate about individual privacy versus national security. He inspires many young Americans like Default to take a good hard look at how their government functions. Default doesn't want to sit around and let surveillance happen to him. He wants high-ranking intelligence officials to know what it feels like to be spied upon, to have their private information stored and distributed, and to have it used against them. This is when he teams up with the Crackers with Attitude, founded by Cracker, the kid who's always high. Leicestershire, England, 2015. In a housing estate on the outskirts of a sleepy former mining town, there's not a lot to do except get high or go online. In the case of 15-year-old Cracker, he spends his time doing both. He's angry about corruption, about surveillance, but in particular about the US's involvement in the Middle East. He becomes especially focused on Palestine and sees the US as directly responsible for death and suffering in Gaza. He decides to do something about it.
This was political. We heard he was really angry about US foreign policy. So he started a collective called Crackers with Attitudes, and then he hacked into sensitive documents online.
One of his first victims is James Clapper, then the National Director of Intelligence of the Obama administration. Clapper, one of the highest-ranking members of the intelligence community, had his phone number and address waiting to be found with just one Google search. This provides Cracker with enough information to hack into his email. He posts proof of...
That's crazy. Can they just brute force it then? That is unfortunate. Can they just brute force the password though to actually get in the email? That's what I was... That's crazy. You can get their phone number and wow.
It on Twitter, which catches Default's attention. Cracker then gets the phone calls to Clapper's house phone rerouted to the Free Palestine movement. Default tweets his respect to Cracker, and the two start chatting. Edward Snowden himself has given James Clapper a very special shout-out in an interview with the German broadcaster ARD. Unfortunately, that interview was blocked from US and German television networks. Apparently, the video is immediately taken down every time it's posted on YouTube.
Which makes sense. I mean, they don't want to get leaked. That's kind of impressive, though. They can just immediately take that down. It just shows how much pull they have.
So we'll only show the quotes visually.
I would say sort of the breaking point is seeing the Director of National Intelligence, James Clapper, directly lie under oath to Congress.
What we do not do is spy unlawfully on Americans, or for that matter, spy indiscriminately on the citizens of any country.
Okay, so they really just caught him in a lie. Like, completely perjury. Wow, that's crazy. But didn't you tell other people the information you gained unlawfully, so you can't, like, if you were to sue, I'm not saying they will, but if they were to sue him for perjury, isn't that inadmissible?
Spy for valid foreign intelligence purposes as authorized by law, with multiple layers of oversight to ensure we don't abuse our authorities.
Cracker and Default are livid. Cracker and other hackers loosely connected with CWA team up to target more high-ranking members of the intelligence community. They want to embarrass them and to show them that they aren't as powerful as they think they are. At the top of their list is John Brennan, head...
That's crazy. I'm sorry, I keep pausing it, but a couple of kids can just hack them just like that, snap of a finger, and that's just insane to me on how easy it really is to gain access to people's identities nowadays.
Of the CIA. Brennan, like Clapper, has enough information online that he basically doxes himself. Kracker looks up his publicly posted phone number and finds out it's a Verizon number. He calls up Verizon's internal tech support and pretends to be an on-site technician who's having trouble helping a customer on site. Tech support asks Kracker for his employee code, and he just makes one up on the spot. It works.
Wow, it works?
The support technician provides Kracker with access, and suddenly he has the account number, the PIN, and John Brennan's private email address. If you've
How does he just randomly come up with a tech number and they're like, yeah, that checks out. Okay,
just enough information on someone, pieced together from different sources, say their address and last 4 digits of their social security number, you can easily change the passwords on all kinds of accounts and take it over. And that's exactly what Kracker does with Brennan's AOL account.
No way, he locks Brennan out. That would be crazy.
Once he's in the email account, Kracker gets Brennan's private cell number and shares it with Default. And so they start spam calling the director of the CIA, relentlessly calling him and his family.
I told him he was a piece of shit. Basically, like, y'all are awful people. Like, really. Like, you're not doing any net positive things for the world. You're just not.
John Brennan is freaked out. Sure, the calls are little more than a prank, but how could he know that? At the time, nobody knew who was behind the calls, or what their intentions were. Brennan has to lay low for a while in hiding.
Yeah, that's crazy. You're the head of the FBI, or was it CIA? I don't remember. And you're just getting your phone hacked. You cannot let that be happening. You have to use, like, I remember Anom. I just made it, I reacted to one of those videos. You have to use an encrypted phone, I feel like. It should be for criminals. Criminals use it, and, like, FBI agents, CIA agents, people, the head of the justice, like, all, like, people up there, I feel like should be using encrypted phones.
With extra security details for himself and his family. At the same time, Kracker's breach into Brennan's email gives him access to sensitive documents. Kracker first posts screenshots on Twitter, but then, egged on by Default, and maybe asking himself, what would Snowden do, he decides to hit up WikiLeaks. Julian Assange himself takes interest. He publishes the documents in October 2015. They include Brennan's 47-page SF-86 application, a sensitive form required for obtaining top-secret government security clearance. The form reveals his criminal history, psychological records, past drug abuse, and other details nobody would want about themselves online.
Yeah.
Not only that, from Brennan's emails, WikiLeaks publishes Bush-era recommendations for how the presidency should operate in the Middle East. There is also an internal congressional correspondence from the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence that offered suggestions on how to make future interrogation methods, also known as torture, compliant and legal. The breach cost the agency $1.5 million in damages and relocation costs, as several operatives went into hiding before they knew that there was basically no threat level. Above all, it was widely embarrassing. Hacking into Brennan...
Above all, it was widely embarrassing? That's what you're concerned about?
His email was laughably easy.
This is true, and it's true that you guys have actually broken into his private email account. How difficult would you say it is?
You mean out of 10?
Sure, out of 10.
1.
Oh my
1.
gosh. I'm not gonna lie, that's kind of aura. How difficult is it to hack into the head of the CIA, the head of the CIA's phone? 1 out of 10.
I guess private information really is pretty stupid, really. He's supposed to be so high in the government, like head of CIA, then he should be a bit more clever.
Can you give us any indication of your background? I mean, how old you are? Are you in the United States? I mean, anything you can tell me about yourself?
Yeah, I'm below the age of 20 years old. I smoke pot, and I live in America.
And you smoke pot?
All day, every day.
We wonder what John Brennan must have thought
every day.
while undoubtedly watching this in his relocation house. What fury must have built up inside him. The CWA aren't done. They release more and more information. With control over Clapper's and other operatives' accounts, it's even easier.
See, now you went from a point of doing stuff for the better of the world, like stopping bestiality. You went from that to now actually leaking people, and that's the turn on where you're kind of... It's not really for the world's benefit at this point. It's for you to get attention.
To get people to give up information to in turn access further accounts and databases. They gain access to FBI's Deputy Director Mark Giuliano's account. There, they discover a database with personal information of 9,000 Department of Justice officials and 20,000 FBI
29,000 people. That's crazy.
agents. They post it. They then get access to the Justice Department's joint automated booking system, which has records on all U.S. prisoners.
This is bad. No, this is like, I didn't think it was at this level of bad. I don't really know how to explain it, but 29,000
They check out the
different
records of
accounts.
fellow hackers like Jeremy Hammond and post those online as well. They wreak havoc and embarrass one institution after another. Did these kids really think that they were going to get away with it?
At the time,
at that point,
I really didn't care. I just
like
that
you're
was
not
towards the
you're
end
not
of the
getting
run.
away with it.
It was just like all bets are off. You know, I'd gone all the way down the rabbit hole. I just become very disillusioned with people's complacency and their lack of care for what was going on. So it's like, we're going to bring attention to this with like chaos and mayhem.
Kraka knows his actions have poked a very big bear. He knows there will be consequences.
Yeah.
He just doesn't know what they'll exactly be.
I'm gonna go to Russia and chill with Snowden, because I know that the government are pretty mad about this. I'm probably gonna get tortured. I'm actually a pretty fast runner.
Default is paranoid
I'm
the
a
whole
fast
time.
runner. I don't think you're outrunning a SWAT team that's fully strapped.
Constantly worried about his OPSEC.
Or no, he means running, like getting places quickly.
But he let his guard down. Default became involved with an ex-girlfriend of one of his friends. According to him, he asked his friend in advance if it's okay with him. The friend says sure, go for it. He's way over it. But he isn't.
No, you didn't write a double, don't worry.
Default and his friend are hanging out one night, drinking and chatting over Xbox Live.
I slip up for the first time ever, being f***ing arrogant and cocky. It comes on the news, CIA director hacked, blah, 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 all this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, that was us, blah, blah. I was like drunk talking and just totally like gave myself away.
He never thought his friend would do anything with that information. Hell, he didn't even think his friend would necessarily believe him. But today, Default is pretty sure this friend turned him in. When the FBI raids you, they don't knock politely. FBI agents enter Default's room just as his computer finishes decrypting. They are pointing assault rifles in his face. They drag him out of his room, flash copy his hard drive before it re-encrypts, and seize all of his equipment. Default knows he's finished, but the worst part, watching the agents carry off his hard drive. The hard drive with nearly
That would be worth 4 million Bitcoin. That's worth 4 million today. Oh my gosh, no. Seeing that flash. Oh my gosh. That is 1,000 Bitcoin. That just slipped through his fingers. That would be worth what? Like, or no, was it 6 million? That would be worth like 6 million today. No, I feel bad.
1,000 Bitcoin. He blacks out.
Maybe your message is too long.
Kraka, too, gets raided by the British police forces, and his computers are confiscated. One other CWA member gets arrested in the US, and 3 more in the UK. Since Kraka was underage and in the United Kingdom, he got a lenient sentence. He spent 2 years in a juvenile detention center.
He got 2 years? That's it?
He was the first minor in the UK to be imprisoned for hacking. Today, he's keeping his head down and is done with crime. He just wants to make a career in cybersecurity and move on with his life. He did not want to give us an interview. Default, even though he was less involved, paid a much higher price. He went straight to federal prison with a 5-year sentence. He had to pay $145,000 in restitution, and due to COVID regulations, spent a significant amount of that time in solitary confinement. While pleading in court, he said, "I thought what I was doing was right in terms of political justice, but 2 years later, I realized I was completely wrong."
Yeah. You can't just go doxing
Snowden,
people.
too, didn't have a relaxed time fighting asylum in Russia. Shortly after his leak, intelligence officials publicly fantasized about killing him. Whether you're a principled whistleblower who truly understands the
Oh.
significance of what you're leaking, or a stone teen furious at the world's injustices, messing with the US government will change the course of your life forever. So make sure it's worth it. In December 2023, the Biden administration renewed a
I mean, didn't do anything's a strong word. He doxed, I mean, the two of them together doxed 29,000 people. But 2 years, 2 years is not bad. I think 2 years is really good. 2 years, I feel like it would have been more than that. And I was a little shocked when and it was just juvie also. I think it said it was just juvie. 2 years on juvie. The same community rules. Oh yeah, probably that, EJ.
very controversial.
But they mainly targeted the people who were breaking the law. Oh, that's true. That's what they started with. But then I think they got on a high and they got off on a power trip, and then they took it too far after that. Like the original people that were doxing who committed perjury, yeah, like sure, they did something illegal and they didn't face justice for it. So you took that in your own hands and you're gonna make them pay for what they did, and that's all. That's fine. I'm not gonna say you should or shouldn't do it, but when it gets to the point where you're off on a power trip and you're doxing 30,000 people, I mean, a lot of those people are just are trying to do good in the world, and if you're gonna dox them and get like all of their information out, that's at the point where it goes from you're doing a bad thing for a good reason to you're doing a bad thing for a bad reason. But 2 years is not bad. I mean, for doxing 30,000 people, not bad. I mean, I think it should have been less if he only doxed like the creeps, like you were saying, and the people committing perjury and stuff. But since he doxed the 30,000, 2 years is not bad.
Surveillance program. The act allows the administration to spy on anyone in the world without warrant, including its own citizens. It includes a vast database of
But also you gotta recognize these two kids, they just made the entire world aware of how much our privacy isn't actually private, and how much the US can actually see. Or not just the US, anywhere. How much anywhere can actually see. And so I mean, I guess that's a positive and a negative. Okay, I gotta finish this.
Communications. It's supposed to be accessed only when there's a legitimate reason to believe it will assist intelligence operations. But a US court ruling in 2023 found that the FBI has already misused this database 278,000 times.
And see, this is where I'm like, this is where you deserve justice. This is where I'm like, okay, these kids doxed you for doing bad things, and you didn't face justice for doing those bad things, so now you are facing justice. You're feeling exactly what other people are feeling, and it's like, if you dish it, you gotta be able to take it. If you're gonna steal other people's information, you gotta be okay with getting your information stolen.
Unlawful searches.
270,000 is absurd, though.
278,000 times. Unlawful searches were particularly rampant between 2016 and 2020. They've snooped in the private communications of donors to various congressional candidates. They've been watching suspected January 6 rioters, and they've also been surveilling Black Lives Matter protesters. Maybe they're even surveilling us.
They probably are surveilling us. Good video, though. Good video, Fern.